Job chapter 30, verses 16 through 23. Job 30, 16 through 23 says, "And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold of me. The night racks my bones, and the pain that gnaws me takes no rest. With great force my garment is disfigured. It binds me about the collar of my tunic. God has cast me into the mire, and I have become like dust and ashes. I cry to you for help, and you do not answer me. I stand, and you only look at me. You have turned cruel to me. With the might of your hand you persecute me. You lift me up on the wind. You make me ride on it, and you toss me about in the roar of the storm. For I know that you will bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all living." A little bit like yesterday's devotional, Job is kind of bleak. He is not having a good time, and you know the story of Job. You know that he slowly but surely has everything taken away from him. His family, his wealth, his health, and his friends all sit around and point out to him he must have done something wrong to deserve all of this. All the while, Job maintains his innocence. He claims he hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything to deserve any of this. And all the while, he sees that God is sovereign over everything. So today, I want to give you 3 thoughts from Job chapter 30, verses 16 through 23. Thought number 1, acknowledge the Lord's sovereignty. When Job is sitting and thinking about all the things that are happening to him, he doesn't blame the weather. He doesn't blame the enemies that came and killed and stole from him. He doesn't blame the sickness or plague that has struck him. No, he doesn't blame any of those things, but he acknowledges that God is sovereign over all of those things. And this is something that Job does that is right. It is correct that he acknowledged the Lord's sovereignty in everything. He sees that it is God's doing that all of these things have happened to him. And if you go back and you read the beginning of Job, you can see all of that play out. So thought number 1, acknowledge the Lord's sovereignty. Thought number 2, struggle with the Lord's rule. And it's a funny thing for me to tell you probably that it's okay for you to struggle with the Lord's rule, because most of the time we just say we need to take everything that the Lord gives us, we just need to take it, we need to be happy with it, and we just need to go with it and not worry about it. But all throughout the Bible, what we see are that people struggle with the Lord's rule. They look at the trouble that's befalling them and they say, "Why, God?" They see that the Lord is not blessing them and they cry out, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever?" The idea that you struggle with the Lord is built into the name Israel. Job struggles with the Lord. He struggles with the fact that the Lord had blessed him. He had tried to be faithful to the Lord in all things, but the Lord was not keeping him safe as he always had before. And this absolutely messed with Job's head. And I think that if we were in the same situation, we would struggle too. So thought number 2, struggle with the Lord's rule. But don't stay there. Because thought number 3 is this: submit to the Lord's authority. See, we should acknowledge the Lord's sovereignty, and we can struggle with the Lord's rule, but ultimately we have to submit to the Lord's authority, because, as we will find out later when we actually read the Lord's response to Job, we don't really have anything to say to God about our experiences in this world, because He is our creator. When the Lord is your creator, when you acknowledge the Lord as your creator, and you acknowledge His authority, then you can accept that His ways are not your ways, His purposes are not your purposes, and because of that, you can trust in the things that He's doing, even though you probably don't like them all. So those are the three thoughts that I wanted to give to you from Job 30, 16 through 23. Acknowledge the Lord's sovereignty, struggle with the Lord's rule, but ultimately submit to the Lord's authority. If you'd like to read through the Bible with me, join the Facebook group Through the Bible. You'll get regular encouragement on reading the text of Scripture. It's set up in learning units, so you just click on the day, click on the text comes up in a link for you, and it gives you your daily reading, and you can keep track as you read along.